7 finalists in the final round of poetry reading. In 7th place, from Bartlett, Michael O'Malley. In 6th place, from Hinsdale Central, Yanni Kinnis. In 5th place, from Prospect High School, Hannah Rose. In 4th place, from Hononegah High School, Megan McGee. Third place in poetry reading, Morgan Brown from Southland College Prep Charter. Your tournament runner-up in poetry reading, Grace McGuan from Wheaton Warrenville South. And your tournament champion, Thomas Tang from Thornton High School. Your 2014 tournament champion in poetry reading, Thomas Tang, Thornton High School.
Let's face it, men are not allowed to be afraid. Or we have to qualify by saying that I was only startled for a second, never afraid. Yeah, right. We play with semantics and history when it comes to fear. Whenever I got scared as a kid, I was always told to be strong, be tough, you know, most times to man up. Fathers tell this to their sons, uncles to nephews, and even Little League coaches to their players. Every day, I watch men around me struggle with the burden of concealing their fears like I did for too many years. But men puff up their chests, yell, curse, and even fight to the death to avoid being called afraid. As if being afraid were a mortal sin. And I don't know why. In many communities, hypermasculinization is a means of survival. Honestly, as a senior in high school, I feel the pressures every day of living up to what other people around me expect out of a man. Carlos Gomez expresses his life, as well as the lives of other men who feel the same pressures I do, in poems from Man Up by Carlos Gomez. No matter how jacked up the state of men in the United States becomes, one popular myth always persists. The knight in shining armor. It's as American as apple pie. A fantasy that I've heard out of the mouths of women in their late 20s and 30s, still holding out hope for their perfect man. But who can blame them? Well, I know the story well. The little girl plays house, dreaming of her fairy tale wedding, while the little boy plays war, fighting to protect his castle. And now, I don't mean to crush your dreams, but we have to grow up. And like most men, I did. My shining armor was actually suffocating my true self. My insecurity, defensiveness, and pride was all hidden away so that I could give a princess her castle. But let's be honest. Those princesses grow up to be housewives. And those little knights grow up and go to war. Because manhood is proven on the battlefield. Call it right, call it wrong. This is what I was taught. Fight for the woman you love. If your friend gets into a fight, you have his back. If someone physically confronts you, you fight to the death. It's ridiculous. We as boys are brought up to hold might over passion. My ability to fight has always been more valued by society than my ability to love. That's probably why for most of my life I have proudly called myself a fighter. But you cannot beat what makes you weak. You have to respect it. You know, you can't run from it or even kill it. You can't fight your way out of a corner, especially if the enemy is beating in your chest. This reminds me of a statement made by Henry David Thoreau. Most men lead lives of quiet desperation and go to the grave with the songs still in them. I have known men who fought for the civil rights of all those whose identity was deemed inferior and humbly set their personal beliefs aside to work toward a common good. I have known men who were honest enough to say that their biggest fear in life was raising a black son. I've known men whose only consistency in life was absence, whether of food or of justice or of opportunity. I have known men who for the first time in their lives felt like they could be called beautiful and that there was nothing wrong with being a beautiful man. I have known faded men, jaded men, working men, educated men, strong men, sassy men, dancing men, prancing men. Listen, I've known a lot of men, okay? Sweetie, I have known men who could sweep you off of your feet with the corniest of gestures. Doom, 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 doom. I've got sunshine on a cloudy day. Woo! That's a real man. That is a real man. And men who are not afraid of being afraid. Men who are not afraid of being afraid. Men who cry. Manly tears, of course. But there is no such thing as a manly tear. Men who fight manly battles. Men who raise beautiful girly daughters. Men who just sit back and love their families and take out the trash and cook, and sometimes cook very well. I know. I just so happen to be one. Man, I used to be the crybaby afraid of everything you can imagine, who was so crippled by his own fear that he used to pee his pants. I'm doing better. I am the nerdy kid with food allergies who cannot eat wheat, peanuts, or mushrooms. I'm the nutcase. The nutcase that wakes up at 3:38 every morning to do 300 push-ups just so he doesn't lose his edge. Because he knows his edge makes him great. But at the same time, I'm just that needy guy. You know, the one that wants to be touched and held and remembered in the moment. I want to be a great father, one who always teaches his kids to be proud and strong. I want to be the grandfather who can give his grandson a run for his money in basketball, even with a crippling arthritis in his right hip. I want to be the senior citizen having great sex with his wife, even though their bodies are betraying them and their wrinkles are getting way too out of control. I want to be the old man at the doctor's office that sees cancer on the MRI. Cancer. But much to the surprise of his doctor and wife, simply says, "Man, I knew that sucker was going to come for me at one point." I want to be that same fearless old man in the hospital, gripping his wife's hand as the heart monitor slowly drifts off. I think I just want to be the one that always dared to love. Well, and to be loved. Guys, I want other men to be free of the binaries and gender appropriation because I was tired of that box that I put myself in, trust me. There is no one definition of a man. But if somebody from my childhood walked up to me today and demanded me to man up, I would look him dead in his eye and I would proudly say, I did man up. Because I am human.
For 2000.